here in Group D, as we get into it, to play all three, and the final play all three for Dark and MbL, it is 9 wins right now for Dark after 4 rounds, and it's 11 for MbL. So again, to restate it, the situation is if MbL gets 3-0'd, then Dark goes to first and MbL goes to second, but otherwise, probably going to be MbL first and Dark second. But, as MbL comes forward to try and lame here, and this is going to be fun, because in the previous round, Rapard tried to lame him, MbL blocked it. No, sorry. So what happened in the previous round was MbL lames a boar from Rapard, and Rapard did an amazing job trying to block it the whole way through. Then Rapard's like, oh, it's okay. I'll counter lame him. MbL's scout is weak. And then Rapard's scout died to the boar.
Oh, no.
It was a nightmare. But it's been an interesting group here. Back to what you were saying, it really just feels like a group that MbL was able to have his way with because there's not really another player in this group that isn't like MbL. Like, there's not a single super quick, fast Castle Age crossbow, nerdy type players. All like macro strategy players here in Group D.
I think like if you go through the players, Dark, very similar to MbL. We talked about it a little bit. MbL just a higher skill level than him. Rapard, also one of those crazy players that you never really know what to expect from. But that's MbL.
That's MbL.
And he's better at it, right?
Yep.
So it's like crazy. Kasva, another crazy forward player. And it's like, how do you break MbL's defense? Many people have tried. And if he's on the ball, like almost nobody can do it. And then Nilly just doesn't fundamentally understand how MbL does what he does. So I feel like he's already got him stun locked, And it's just like you go through the list of players here, and you're finding them out of luck. But we'll see what Dark can do today. Graveyards is an interesting one, and I think this used to be super Aztec driven on this map, but Aztecs have gotten a few nerfs. Even with the relics here, I think Incas, it feels like they can just mass better than Aztecs can, and they have the slinger option to deal with the eagle push from the Aztecs and Castle Age. So Incas are a nice pick here for Dark.
Yeah, and Dark actually had picked Incas and Mayans as pick number 1 and number 2. So I'm really curious on the Mayans pick. I think he might choose that for Lands Madness, but just something to think about. One note here, and I really should be saving this for when we cast the wall, but I know I'm going to forget it, so I need to bring it up to you. Dark had a game against FedEx on Zawal, and FedEx collected 70k more resources.
70?
Wait, is this 70? Now I'm second guessing myself. That's a lot.
It,
that can't be a lot. That can't be it. Hold on, no. What was it? I think no. I think it was 70k resources in total collected by FedEx, and I think it was 35k by Dark. Like literally, FedEx collected double the resources, and Dark ended up winning. I don't know if I've ever seen like truly double the amount of resources collected in the game before and had that player lose. So it was pretty ridiculous. And Dark will have an all-in planned for sure there. I think he picked like Portuguese and Burmese, actually, which is what he had used against FedEx. So who knows?
I was forgetting the last player, but it is FedEx indeed. And it's funny that FedEx did take a game because I think stylistically he probably matches up the best against MbL. So even if he's not at the same level, it's funny that he did manage to take a game.
It was one of those things
FedEx
where
there.
If it was week 3, MbL probably 3-0s him. But it was week 1. I was in Australia. I woke up. I'm watching it. And I was like, it ruined the rest of my day. I was so anxious. Had so much anxiety. I was so annoyed because MbL did not know how to play migration. It was so bad.
Oh, God.
Like, he didn't have a single villager on the mainland by the time he was an imp. I don't know what went wrong.
Oh, no.
But yeah, anyways, back to this game here. It's most likely going to be Archer opening for Dark. He doesn't have a barracks yet. So that's going to come up soon. And MbL did add the barracks, but no militia or anything coming out of it just yet. But normally the Aztecs are going to make the militia. And there he goes.
There it is. And he's already got the wall set up. It's interesting that he went for that forward wood line immediately. I guess that was like the first one that he saw. But because he has villagers there, he's going to wall at the front. It wouldn't surprise me to see a gigantic wall at some point in Feudal Age coming up from him. People really like to wall graveyards, even though it's tough. I think that's probably why people go for the extended walls, because there's, not many wood lines to protect you. So they will invest into that. But here comes the 2 militia, and it's only 2 from MbL for the time being, and he'll probably add an archer range behind that.
Dark's scouting is interesting. I mean, he is just sitting back. He hasn't scouted MbL at all. So the 2 militia could surprise him. Normally what players are going to do is they're going to prep small palisade walls on the resources if they haven't scouted their opponent's opening. But he did just catch a glimpse. So now he knows MbL's got the 2 militia, but this is all MbL wanted. This is all he wanted. It's just an opportunity to delay something. And this could get really rough for Dark.
Yeah, and it's only 3 villagers there. MbL's actually going to leave that gold, which is interesting. Okay, comes back to it. That makes sense. Meso civs without gold are just not the same, right? And if you can keep them away from those first couple archers, if you get an archer advantage, that could be massive. And Dark is, you know, he's spending the gold on an eagle, right? So he won't even have enough gold to produce that archer right away.
Yeah, we saw it was Mayans versus Incas yesterday on Socotra. Obviously a bit different. Nikov versus Hart. And both players went eagle skirm, which surprised me. I thought we'd see more of like an archer into eagle all in or something. But so maybe that was calculated from Dark. Maybe the reason he went to gold is because he could actually afford that additional eagle before going to gold, and it was going to go skirms anyways. So there he is. MbL is going double barracks behind this, Dave. He's going to go into eagles immediately.
Well, I mean, he did see the amount of harassment he got on the gold from Dark, right? So you just keep adding in eagles, and all Dark's going to be able to add is like 1 archer, an additional eagle, and skirmishers before he has enough gold supply for it. And if MbL goes double barracks armored, and then maybe he can transition into an archer range later, Dark might be in trouble, and MbL takes out the starting eagle from Dark at home.
That's annoying too, because that eagle can scout the whole map to see relics for later.
Yep.
So far, just full control from MbL, as you would expect. And yeah, I think normally the weakness of going into the eagles is your opponent's going to have archers, and eagles take a very long time to mass. But if your opponent's just going skirms, I think eagles is perfect. So I'm really liking MbL's position right now. Remember, Dark doesn't really have a lot of vision on where MbL's taking resources either. Actually, now that I say that, he did scout where the gold and the berries are, so he should find the wood line as well. So not too bad.
Think about graveyards. There's like always another gold you can go to, right?
Yeah,
There's always another stone you can go to. Even if they don't have that much on them, you always have options. And now Dark is going for a big wall at the back of his base. That's an interesting one, but it checks out.
Yep.
And he's holding on to the gold.
So maybe Dark right now thinking, all right, I need a few more archers because I'm seeing eagles. Eventually, I can play towards range units and go slingers against the eagles, which are really good against eagles. So it's not even close. The eagles can't get anywhere near them, but the slingers do have a mobility issue. And when you have a player like MbL who thrives on making things messy and chaotic, I feel like you really still don't want MbL to have the control in this game to just run around your base.
To stone.
Huh?
Welcome to MbL set here. Double barracks eagle. No blacksmiths for the armor on the eagles or anything, and he's heading to stone. So strap yourselves in, folks.
Well, if this was 2015, that wouldn't be weird for us, and we'd just say, okay, he's going to go tower defense. He's just going to drop a tower next to the stone and gold, drop a tower in his wood line, and then he doesn't have to worry about it. But it is pretty uncommon these days. If anything, these days, if you go to stone at this time, as MbL's looking to loop in with eagles and will make it in, Dark's got to run away. But if anything, it's for the market these days, right? Just to like sell the stone.
Yep. I mean, if he does manage to hold this open, and if he comes forward with towers, he's going to need the armor on his eagles if he wants to do that.
Yeah.
But if he comes forward with towers here and shuts off that gold, he can then place more towers and shut off the farms here. From Dark, maybe a tower at the front to shut off the farms, and Dark's going to be in trouble because he only has that one back gold position, and that's not even that secure at the backside of his base. But I think all of this just kind of, hinges on the armor from MbL, but MbL is just going for a defensive tower, and he's going for a market.
Yeah, I think MbL's really happy with the amount of aggression he's putting on right now. He hasn't killed any villagers yet, but he's made life really awkward for Dark. But at the same time, we should say, well played from Dark to not lose any villagers. He's killed 5 units. He's only lost 2. And his farming eco is looking pretty good. The amount on gold is perfect for the type of unit he's going for. He'll have his walls down as well. And knowing how both players are going to see this game, I'm sure he'll mark it and maybe even consider selling his stone just to buy his way up. Because I think you're against MbL. The longer the game goes, the worse it's going to be for you, right? I think all-inning this in Castle Age is probably the best approach.
Well, you have Slinger advantage in Castle Age. It's huge, right? Like,
Yep.
and if MbL just keeps producing eagles, he's going to be in trouble. MbL has cut eagle production though, and is going for another tower on his gold. He's gone out to another gold, and he's likely just going to go up to the castle age here. Is this a matchup where scorpions are viable for Aztecs?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Like in combination with things, yes. So in combination with your eagles,
Well,
absolutely.
obviously not just
But, like,
scorpion.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the only way it works is if Dark is only on Slinger. And I think where the Incas are strong is if they have eagles and slingers as well. Now, I mean, right now we're seeing Barracks number 2 for Dark, so that kind of tells us he still thinks eagles are a play for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any bonuses that Aztecs have for Scorpions, but I mean, even against like Cav Archers these days, a couple Scorpions combined with Knights can be good. Like, it's not a bad unit to think about.
I'm just running through the options for MbL, right? And you're thinking you could add crossbow to deal with the slingers and the eagle, but that's going to take some time. You don't even have an archer range yet, let alone the text or anything like that. If you just go solo eagle, you're running into, even if Dark only has one range, once he gets 5 or 6 slingers with the eagles in front, you're just running into a wall of death. If you stay on stone, Jags can work against the eagles, but then they die against the slingers. So it's just kind of like, what do you add in? Monks isn't going to do it all for you, especially when your opponent has eagles to snipe them.
I guess it also depends. Maybe MbL just booms. Maybe he expects a lot of army here from Dark, and maybe he booms. Right now, though, MbL hasn't recouped the stone he's lost. And Dark was just healing up inside his TC. Dark has been really chill. To be the underdog here, like he's just been hanging out, chilling. Has not attacked MbL once this game.
Decent castle age uptime. He's only a minute behind, and MbL has been hanging out on his gold the entire time, right? And Aztec economy should be better.
Yep, should be.
Than the Incas, even though the Incas are saving food on their eagle production. And MbL now has the armor. He's coming in. He's going to take out a couple eagles, and this archer army is very exposed here. MbL will need to wait for that eagle warrior upgrade to come in, even with that +1 armor likely.
I think if Dark kills 2 more eagles with this army, though, he's actually really happy about this. Because this is not an army he was ever going to upgrade. So getting to attack these things before they were Eagle Warrior, before Final Armor was in or anything, is not horrible for him. And now he's going to be making some slingers. So now's where those eagles shouldn't have too much success.
Just one archer range slinger production. They don't produce that slowly. And then you get the eagles in front here. And MbL just sends those eagles into the back, which is actually going to be quite annoying.
Yeah.
Dark needs to focus on the front. These guys in the back here are pretty brutal, honestly.
Yeah, and this is going to allow MbL to make proper decisions at home. MbL also had broke through the palisade. That whole time he was attacking that palisade. So he's now in on the gold as well. And oh, God. Dark has too many fires to put out. Like, thank God the armor upgrade affects his villagers right now, because that's going to help him survive a little bit longer. But
it's actually helping him a lot. Dude, it's helping him a lot. He hasn't lost a villager yet. He has not lost a villager.
MbL's probably like, what more do I have to do here?
Without that armor upgrade, I think he would have lost like 3 or 4 vills by now. That's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, didn't lose a single villager. Wow.
A single vill, yeah.
Someone get a monk, though. Could heal up these vills, because the next raid's going to kill half his economy.
Herbal medicine. Let's go. Make some towers of your own.
So,
oh, man.
It's interesting. Dark, he hasn't really invested into a lot of slingers. It feels like just 3 or 4 is enough. And he's still going eagles. So MbL's at 7 eagles. And it's 4 for Dark, but Dark has 8 in queue. So I could definitely see Dark pushing out across the map here with the slinger-eagle combination. And MbL's dropping town center number 2, which is to be expected beyond this control. And he's also starting to get relics. But this is now the point you had thought of. Like, what happens now when you are going only eagles and your opponent has slingers and eagles combined?
I love the calmness. You mentioned it earlier from Dark. I mean, there's been some hectic moments, but like we said, not a single villager lost. Walls are up, right? He's going into the slingers. He can extend outwards for that gold in front of his base now. And for a player that I usually think of with Dark, I think of him like panicking kind of a lot of the time. He's done a pretty good job. I think the slinger number needs to be around 10, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think you just need to keep massing them, and then you could come forward with some siege. And ask some questions from MbL.
Well, I mean, MbL could convert 3 slingers pretty easily. And then suddenly, your whole slinger army has switched sides. But there's the Siege Workshop for MbL. Again, second TC's way in the back on an extra gold. Also, Aztec's getting 33% more gold per relic is huge. MbL's got 1 already. Dark looking to dive in, and you could tell MbL's thinking about a counterattack here, which would be pretty bold. But if he thinks he can get away with it, he absolutely should do it. And, oh, dude, Dark is not expecting this. Look where Dark is going with his villagers, Dave.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
God, we're going to need some gates. Stone gates right here. There we go. There's 1. There's 2.
Whoa, dude.
Oh, that's sick, dude. Let's go, Dark.
That was so good. And now MbL is going to waste a little bit of time getting around. I mean, still could get to that gold. Dark still has to work for it. But there's more stone gates going up. I mean, no town centers in the near future for Dark with all this stone being spent on this.
Let's go.
He's underneath MbL's TC right now. He's trying to make a dive to make something happen. And if he gets to MbL's gold, honestly, could be pretty decent.
Scorpions are out. Uh-oh, that's not a good engagement under that TC. Oh, that's not good against the Scorpions at all. Oh, no. MbL's losing Eagles. Dark is going for more stone gates. It's a stone gate community. He just has to be careful. Do not finish any of those because the villagers will open them up for the Eagles.
And MbL's like, fine, I'll just go into the back of your eco. And remember, a lot of these villagers are weak from last time. The Dark lost his entire army that he'd used to counter. MbL used the Scorpions, Monks, and Eagles, and the TC Fire. And remember, MbL's on the second town center, so if he loses villagers, which he has not... Actually, he has. He's lost 2. He could always add more.
He's lost 2, and Dark still has not lost a single villager.
Wild.
That is wild.
And Dark has 40 seconds of TC idle time. Dark actually is even with MbL and Vills right now because of that. It's really impressive.
And he's getting wheelbarrow, too, so it's looking good for him. It is Scorpions, though, for MbL. And it's more Scorpion production. I think that's like the answer that you have to come up with against this comp of Slingers and Eagles. At least as a temporary measure, right?
Yeah, and when you're going eco at this point, you know that you just need to hold for a while, and then you have a point where you can switch into something else. But I'm worried for Dark right now because I'm looking at his golds, and I mean the villagers are opening the gates constantly, which could be an issue. But, that is not a gold that tells you that he's in a position economically to last very long here. Whereas MbL, he's getting relics. He's up to his second now, and he's on 2 TCs, and his resources are flowing really nicely right now. Great job from MbL. That counterattack was sick. So many players stay at home to defend that attack from Dark, thinking I'm on 2 TCs. I just defend this and I'm fine. But he actually was able to defend it and get a counter raid in.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like the damage that he did because he still hasn't killed a villager, but Dark was clearly distracted. And that's why he lost all of his Eagles and everything underneath the TC. Now MbL is finding some Slingers out of position, and if the Eagles are right up next to the Slingers, they actually do okay.
Lock the gate!
Those gates,
Lock the gate!
Those gates are just opening way too often. This is a mess.
If only would have made the gates a couple more tiles further forward.
I don't think he had time.
No, he didn't have time. I mean,
about that.
I'm surprised he even got the gates down in the first place.
Yep.
We've seen every gate open in the last 30 seconds, though.
My man needs a different gold because this one is just too much to handle for sure.
I think we're seeing the minimum range on the Slingers and how awkward it is here, too, because like, MbL has not really hesitated to getting close to these things. The KD's still pretty close, but it just doesn't feel like Dark can ever get the crucial mass of anything right now.
Oh no. The last remaining Eagle in MbL's base found the Monk. That's sad.
Oh, true.
It's tragic.
Yeah, good play there from Dark. MbL on 4 relics, though. And there's like 6 more on the map. Realistically, you could probably get another 2.
He's using Scorpions as like trash units right now. He's just throwing them away, basically. But he's got 3 more in the queue. That Siege Workshop has been producing pretty consistently, and when the Eagles come in to focus down the Scorpions, MbL just takes them out with his own Eagles.
Yep. And it's worth it for MbL at this point because he has the economic lead. Going to squeeze in a couple eco upgrades that he's missed. He's on 20 Eagles. And, man, Aztecs just produce so quickly from here. Like, it's really hard to stop the snowball at this point. And even if you had 20 Slingers, you're behind. Because you still cannot raid MbL's economy and stop MbL from getting those relics. Pretty much.
MbL has done a great job of just holding Dark in position.
Yeah.
Currently, he knows that in a straight up fight, his composition won't win against the Slinger Eagle, but he's been forcing Dark to react the entire game.
Yeah, he has lost a lot of Scorpions, but every time he loses one, I look at his gold count, and he's still got 300 gold in the bank. He's brought in so much gold.
Death rate is bad, though.
It
He's
is.
probably lost 10.
Yeah.
Another Siege Workshop. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Now the
honestly,
Mangonels will
I
begin,
think
but-
Mangonels would be a bit better at this point. I mean, they're also more expensive, so it's
Or more monasteries, too. Could be
Yeah.
the trick, right?
maybe a couple monks, yeah. Heal up at the very least. There's the Scorpions. So again, Dark has to dive, but Dark is losing Eagles every time he dives to kill these things. Yeah, that Eagle number is high enough for MbL. He doesn't even need more upgrades. He's in a good spot to take this, and he could run right underneath this
Oh
gate
my
if he wants
God.
to.
Another Siege Workshop.
This is-
Mangonels. Another Siege Workshop, bro. No way, Dark. You got to put a stop to this quick because this is going to spiral out of control.
This is MbL saying resign.
Yeah.
Resign because
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this a whole lot worse for you. And
I would like to see MBL like have one Siege Workshop making Mangonels, one making Scorpions, and the other making Rams.
and then another for a
Just
siege
pushed.
tower.
Yep.
Give us the siege tower too.
Actually, Siege Tower would be hype here, dude.
Yeah, it'd
If
be
there was
great.
yeah, you could get right through the gates, right?
Honestly, siege tower with slingers, and then you hop out, you hit the eagles, and then get back in the tower and run away. That could have been a
That's
strat
a
as
little
well.
too much.
Little
Little
ambitious.
Too much micro.
Yeah.
Instead, it's all three Siege Workshops making Mangonels.
Yep.
For MBL.
I remember Dark needed to 3-0 this to have a chance at winning the group. And it's still $20 per win. And obviously some, pride on the line. It doesn't have that much of an effect on the way the group's looking because this group is really... It's not been about number 1 and number 2. It's really been
No.
about number 3 through number
Who's
6.
staying up?
Yeah,
Yep.
we still don't even know who's going to the playoffs in the 3rd spot. And yeah, like you said, who's staying alive. All right, let's see how many
Neely's looked
mangoes
pretty
die.
good. Haswas looked okay. It's an interesting group, but yeah, I mean, this is just what can Dark do?
Too much. There's too much for him to do to come back from this now. Like, you could drop a defensive castle to maybe keep yourself alive, but again, you're just staying alive. You have no real way of hitting MBL's economy.
And so many villagers in Dark's eco have been weak over this point. So like the Eagles in the north are just killing villagers on the gold, right?
Yep.
They're all weak from before. TC's gonna go down. Dark's trying to snipe these Mangonels still. And I'm speeding up. Apparently I wasn't at live time, but
Now, you probably, if you had fast forward still on, it probably is just catching up because they had a spec delay. So yeah, GG's going to be called any moment here. And great game from MbL, but pretty much what I would have expected, I think, from Mezzo War between these two. The thing that you have to do against MbL is you have to take early initiative. And as we said, Dark isn't really that type of player on Arabia. He's actually like an MbL light, where he soaks up the pressure. And ever since MbL saw the golds, he knew it was going to be an Ego War. But what a great call from MbL. It's very rare to see double barracks as the opening. So that was pretty cool, how MbL just knew that this would be Eagles for him in Castle Age. MbL brought in
Neely's here.
2k gold from Relics. And that was not a very long game.
Okay, so welcome to Zawal.
Zawal.
For anyone who's not familiar with Zawal, there is Zawal in the middle, and it's a Gaia wall, and you can't take it over, so you need to punch through it.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 relics on either side. Players will try and gather them pretty quickly. And then there's a bunch of golds and stones that are always forward that you can fight over as well. And then, of course, in the back, you have stones and gold and then wood lines surrounding everything. So usually on this map, well, we'll see one of 2 things. We'll see both players trying to go pretty aggressive early, or the second one is usually one player trying to go for an all-in and the other player trying to weather the storm. It's very rare to see just 2 full boom-ups here.
Yeah, agreed. MbL has played this one other time. I might have missed his first round, but at least the previous round against Rapard, he played as the Teutons, and he went for boom approach, ended up with like scouts and some of his own monks, so he was all in Castle Age. And that was against Rapard, playing as Portuguese actually, and Rapard was trying 1 TC fast imp approach. So MbL's at least shown that he prefers the economy. Bengali's probably the better of the two civs here with the economy because of the villagers you get. So I would maybe think MbL. Well, I could see MbL just going for 2 monasteries and then booming, honestly.
Can you just boom light cav or scouts, or do you not have enough time?
Well, you can go light cav like a normal arena game, but what's weird is you can't really use them effectively unless you can go through the wall. And if you're not the one who broke through the wall, there's nothing to stop the guy on the other side from just making a gate and then just letting you or light cav run around.
Yeah, but then
on the other
you're
side.
just booming.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
he's the one who has
just
to push,
protect
right?
the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess they can get access to the stones and golds, but then they're vulnerable if they come over to your side.
Yeah. So slight issue here. I'm hoping it's not a big talking point, but the Komodo dragon spawned near Dark's boar.
Burp.
It's actually helping him right now, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's fine. There's also a bug on DE, which we found out last week, where you do not get attack notifications from wild animals attacking you on custom maps right now. So
You know, every time I think that there's something new in this game, they an unintentional thing like that happens.
Yep, it's only custom maps. So if you're playing ranked or whatever, it's fine. But in any custom map, you don't hear a noise. And we did actually have a villager go down because of that, which was just a fun little mess for me to deal with. I felt bad for
Dude,
FedEx
that explains so much. That explains so much because I played a couple games on Hyper Random the other day, and I lost like 3 vills.
Yeah, you didn't get the attack noise, dude. You didn't get the attack noise. So
I'm gonna blame it on that for sure.
You probably like had it on your screen, but you didn't get the attack noise, so nothing to be ashamed of. But it's actually kind of helpful that the Komodo dragons are spawned over there because there's nothing. Well, there's one near the walls now. Whereas if you look at MbL's side, this is kind of the intended spawn where they protect the wall to make it a little more difficult to do what you want out there. I mean, players still are going to go out there if they wish to. But yeah,
that's so fascinating. Why would it only be on custom? What would it have? This game is the code is just spaghetti.
It's total spaghetti. Yeah,
I feel bad for the devs sometimes because, like, I had a conversation with one at Heidelberg, and they were talking about that Malay uptime bug, and they said it had to do with some changes they made in the scenario editor that caused that.
Crazy.
Like trigger changes.
Yeah, like
how
bugs like
is
that
even related.
Bugs like that, it's very easy for people who get frustrated with, you know, the games and the updates at times to just be like, okay, who was going to check that, right? Like, whose job would it have been to load into games and get attacked by wolves to double check that? Like, I'm sure they'll put that on their list of things to check now, but like, there's no way anyone could have foreseen that.
That's just another thing they have to add to their quality control. And we can talk about quality control if you want, but the checklist that you have, the checklist, right? Like load into custom map, load into ranked map, load into scenario editor map.
Press
on a
go
Tuesday
back to work. Press go back
7.
to work hotkey.
Yeah.
So
Dark
right now,
going to stone.
Dark's going to stone. Yeah, it's interesting. So I could see him just going for organ guns and adapting from there. We've seen plenty of times where players with new and old Portuguese would drop the castle, make an organ or two to show the threat of organs, and then just go Imperial Age. So it could
Organs
be
are
fast in.
Not so, like, organs are good now, but they're also worse. It's such a weird relationship because they're not good at all against units with high pierce armor. If they can't get through the pierce armor, they're really, really rough, right? So like Paladin, not good. But against units like squishy infantry units now, organ guns in mass can just demolish an entire group in a second.
Yeah.
Because they get those extra shots coming out. But it's a very different vibe than it used to be, where they had the higher base attack, and you could just use them as like a castle age unit.
Also, organ guns do like no damage against mangonels, it feels like now, and they take a lot of damage, which I think was a good change. They changed a lot of things at once, so it's kind of, I think everyone's still kind of getting used to them right now.
Yep.
But dude, I think this is a double fast imp from both, honestly. Why would you go 28 vills without having any vills on stone as Bengalis when you're getting the +2 villagers, unless you want to go
Why would
fast
you only have
Imperial.
3 vills on gold if you're trying to go fast out?
I'm thinking maybe he adapts it a little bit. Like, this is extremely late uptime. For Dark, it's obviously a castle into something. But even Dark, he could have gone up Castle Age faster if he wanted the castle drop. I think this is also a fast imp from him.
Well, MbL could, theoretically, he could just be cooking here and, you know, playing mind games with Dark, saying if I go up later, he's going to think that I'm castle dropping or fast imping. It's not really an MbL thing to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, MbL's not playing mind game. MbL's still trying to figure out his own mind. He doesn't have time to try and confuse other people. But no, I like the approach here from MbL. Like, I remember questioning whether or not he was going to know what to do against Rapard, because Rapard had some really good strats, and right now he's going to stone late. This is probably for an eventual castle, and I think it's going to be monks and a castle from him, so he's expecting something.
Okay.
I love the amount on gold from both, and honestly, in these situations, whoever's buying food faster, or just using the market first, gets a slight benefit. So it'd be important here.
It'd be funny if one player used the market, got up to imp, and then the other player gets there and he's like 20 gold off because the prices just aren't right.
Yeah, right.
The other guy's sold already.
It's like, you know, the build where you're going fast castle and you don't want to mine gold, so you mine just 10 gold to go to 110. And then you want to be the first to sell stone and get 91. But if you're not the first, then you're screwed.
It's the worst when it's your teammate.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you should have told me. That's happened to us before, definitely. Okay, so I could still see MbL adding a town center in the next stage, because he doesn't have as much on food as I was expecting.
Yep.
Food count is really looking good for Dark.
We'll still be ahead by 4 vills here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the advantage of the Bengalis on any sort of closed map. It's your eco's always going to be ahead. So it's a pretty strong fast imp approach, to be honest. And now he's coming forward without Loom towards these Komodos, but he's going to be fine to attack with the scout. He'll probably make a monastery later. He could just heal that bad boy up.
Yep.
And he's going to try and save his villagers as he goes for a siege workshop and monastery. Also wood upgrade, so not a fast imp from MbL, not immediately anyway.
So it's just a, you know, more casual build, and he will go for the second TC. So yeah, when he was Teutons, he did the same thing. Monastery siege workshop. It was funny because Rapard he wanted to break open the walls himself, but he saw MbL was doing it, so he was just like, fine, do it for me, because they both need to do it.
He sees the castle too from Dark.
Oh, and you have to go for an armored elephant too instead of a ram, so you actually have to spend food in gold on your ram instead of wood and gold.
Yikes. I don't know. If you see that castle, do you really want that elephant? Like, unless you think you can break through, maybe he wants to break through on like the one tile over to the left side and try and harass a little bit, but like you're going to be under some pressure here.
Yeah. I still like the idea of, because Dark doesn't get attack notifications for this, I really like the idea of doing something, especially if you're MbL. Like, having access to the enemy side is going to give you so much.
Dark's going to see the elephant right away.
Yeah,
Hi.
Dark's going to be like, okay, I can convert that, right? And he's bringing a monk over. So he's planning on going after that, and Dark gets Loom. I like this. I've seen players forget Loom on fast imps before, and then their main eco gets wrecked.
We think MbL is going to be able to get this relic. Does that castle ranges it? But if he does a drive-by at an angle, maybe he can snag it.
I don't know. Also, can that monk... Okay, the monk was
Yoink!
trying to convert...
Oh, the castle doesn't range it.
This could be problematic for Dark's monk there. Like, that scout from MbL can run through. I think the monk can make it back to the castle now that I think about it. But, like, this is... You have nothing except a monk and a scout right now if you're Dark. Like, you're going to need a little bit of something more here.
Making a couple organs. And both the players are trying to convert the scouts, and both the players can heal up their scouts. So you're trying to keep it basically take out the scout from the opponent if you're Dark. If you're MbL, you definitely want to keep this thing hanging around.
This is so funny. Watching MbL move everything at the speed of the monk, basically. Looks like an AI at the moment. And oh, he wasn't paying attention. And
Bengali monk, dude. You can't. Nice attack round, great attack round, but you can't take that fight.
Not against
monk.
Bengalis. Yep.
No.
So the plan is to probably go Atonement and all these different monk upgrades to convert enemy monks and to convert enemy units. But one of your monasteries could go down right now if you're Dark. He has to go Redemption to take care of this MbL. And oh man, MbL's just made it look so easy.
How is he under this much pressure from this
4
AI
units.
campaign-looking army over here?
Yep.
Like, how?
No Sanctity either, so the MbL could actually kill all these monks if they hit their shots.
That's the Sanctity Monastery he's taking out as well.
Ooh, true. Oh,
One dead
God.
monk.
MbL Scout kills one.
That's 2 dead monks.
Oh, my
that
God.
conversion took forever, dude. Sanctity Monastery about to go down. Oh, no. Dark. It's getting dark, Tristan.
He's gonna
It's
block.
getting really
He's gonna
dark.
block with the mangonel so the Scout can switch sides? Okay, here we go.
Oh, at least that's something for Dark. If MbL had managed to block a scout with a mangonel, so his one-hit monk could take out the scout, that's crazy.
Okay, so this is Fatoria territory, right? Like, your eco's bad, and you're not able to push right away. So I like this from Dark. It's expensive. It takes time to pay off, but it's necessary. MbL is dropping a very defensive castle. He's
And
just been on
another
2
siege workshop.
TCs. Yeah, and I think he's expecting to lose his other siege workshop eventually, so he's just going to build a new one, which is really good forward thinking. I would not be making a new siege workshop right now.
The elephant is against the monk right now, and the monk doesn't have sanctity, but the elephant just gets deleted. And MbL remembered that he didn't have looms, so that's nice.
And MbL will want to go Imp, and when he gets to Imp, both of his TCs will give him 2 additional villagers. But MbL's not Imp yet, and MbL doesn't really have anything to stop enemy monks if the upgrades are in, which they're not right now.
You might want to take your monks and go to that forward monastery and try and snag those relics back before it's too late.
I really do not like how Dark is using the path that MbL made. He should be using his castle to just click one of those walls and make a path right next to his monasteries.
True.
Because it's just taking a little bit of extra time here, and it's really hard to group your units up properly.
And
when
you're
this
not
is
doing
happening.
anything else with the castle.
Yeah.
Like, you should always focus another opening. The houses are being converted here from Dark.
Amazing against MbL, who's known for getting housed. By the way, MbL deleted his monk thinking that their atonement is in for Dark when it's not. Oh, God, the Treb is blocking the... What is that?
Oh, jeez. No, stop it. Stop it. Oh, God. This is why you kill with the castle. So MbL got housed when he got up to Castle Age, getting those extra villagers. How much you want to bet he gets housed again in Imperial Age? Did he cancel Imp?
He did. He's making Lycav. He's making Lycav against us, which is
Okay.
really good. Especially because Dark doesn't remember that he doesn't recognize that Sanctity was actually canceled here. So he's got non-Sanctity monks. Lycav should
true.
wreck him.
He doesn't know.
And the Treb is blocking, so... I mean, a couple organs could be good. Like, if you had 6 organ guns with these monks, I'd like it right now. Let's see. He's got 12 range. Also doesn't have atonement, so he can't convert enemy monks.
No, he's not going to get a single one. These things are so dead. Dude.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. And then the scout he has will not get a kill because it's Bengalis, and his Trebs have to path through that one opening. This is rough.
Did get 3 Lycav.
That's
He did
true.
end up getting 3
And he has
Lycav, which
2
is nice,
Satorias.
especially there's no sanctity for MbL, and he realized after that fight he didn't have sanctity, so he's getting atonement, sanctity as well. However, MbL is at 72 villagers currently, and
But he's
MbL
not
is going
Imp.
for another TC. He's not Imp, but he is making Lycav, and if you remove the monks from the equation of this army, which the Lycav can easily do, it's not very threatening
Yeah.
at all. Nice double bit axe
Dark.
timing for Dark. Really
Stop-
good.
Dark, shoot the wall with that castle. I guess it's not that different a path at the end of the day. MbL realizes he could take fights against Imp armies, but he's a little scared now, actually. And sometimes if you back away and give the monk player a bit more momentum, could be problematic for you.
He's blocking Lycav again from killing his monks. He gets one, and he comes in with the light cab over here. Those houses are quite annoying. Should have deleted them earlier, but he does take out a couple of those monks. He's still got light cab and mangonels to deal with the trebs, and once the trebs are gone, there's no pressure whatsoever from Dark, but the trebs aren't dead yet.
Treb is going to go down there, and the next one could as well. It's just still lacking so much bite, this attack from Dark. It just doesn't have enough right now. It's close to having enough if he had a couple more monks and a couple more organs, so you can see what he's thinking. But oh god, the Treb, again, gonna go down. The Trebs are such an important part of this push right now.
Yeah, like, MbL's mindset, how do I counter Redemption Monks with block printing and organ guns? So I'll just make Mangonels and Castle Age just fine. And it's working. It's working really well.
It's just a combination of units from the player who can afford to do it, I guess. But it's still 2 Fatorias behind this. Like, Dark, usually you lose the game right there. But, you know, I don't think he does if he can get a better mass going. The problem is he's trickling in units at the moment.
From the same gap, by the way.
From the same gap, yes. From the same gap. It's not, he can't retreat to his castle unless he lets MbL into his own base.
Oh no, man.
It definitely feels like Dark came into this today like, well, I can't win 3-0 against MbL. I'm going to get second place. It does seem like he lacks a little bit of confidence here. That's a lot of Mangonels. I think I'm with you. I think that's still too many against 12 ranged monks that can convert your siege.
He's doing fine. I mean, he has enough stone for almost 3 castles right now.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
He's
about to go up to Imp.
Sells some of the stone, clicks up. There you go. Should mention that MbL can't mine a gold beyond the gold that he's working with in the back of his base because of the control that Dark has right now. And here comes Dark. He's looping the whole way around.
Dude, this castle would be so much easier if you just killed 1 tile of wall. It's 1,000 HP.
Just click 1 wall and you're fine, dude. It's not that big a deal, Dark. Oh, man, this could be big, though. Big conversions, maybe, on a lot of the siege and the light cap. Oh, geez. And then there's Komodo dragons going to deny the castle. What is happening?
Oh, no. They'll kill at least 1 villager.
Dark's winning this fight.
Those Komodos are going to kill 2 vills. Maybe 3.
Dark's winning the fight, guys. He's winning the fight. He converted a lot of stuff there, including Ratha. Komodos are, what do we say? What does a Komodo dragon sound? I'm not saying woo 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 for this.
It's like...
There you go. It's like a static sound. You know, villagers keep looping around for Dark. And Dark's going to get another castle. He's got another Treb. MbL could start losing TCs, and this is still winnable for Dark somehow.
Maybe too many Mangonels. Yeah, well, no, MbL disagrees. He's going for more Mangonels. Okay. Cool.
Oh, that's an interesting castle. It's a bait. He wants Dark to focus on the new one instead of the old one. He also maybe wants to make it so Dark can't take that gold. Dark's just going to take the other one. Dark will have to pack up his Treb because of this castle. This castle's really interesting.
It is a 4th Fatoria behind for Dark, by the way.
Wow. So they nerfed the Fatorias by making... I think they have less HP now, but then also they cost 300. A lot of players... After the second season of Titans League, actually, were like, this is insane. I remember, like, Draken with that crazy game against Leary. There's a lot of crazy all-ins with Portuguese, but, I mean, clearly, like, still Fatorias can really fund a solid attack here. But Dark's got a lot of res flowing as well. Like, he could actually spend his resources more, maybe go Cavalier off of this. Could be really strong.
I like the fact that Dark has made an outpost in the north along that wall, because that's one of the ways that MbL, I think, could surprise him.
Yeah.
Is punch to that wall, send some light cab into the eco behind, and do some serious damage. But he's got an outpost there, so he should be aware, and he's controlling the whole left side of MbL's base, as MbL is now selling food for gold. He's kind of desperate for gold. He's got 2 tiles in the back. He doesn't have any relics. He has no access to that gold in front of his castle. So it's going to have to happen with this push. And he's going to get a stack of, looks to be 4 Trebs, if he keeps this castle alive, to push back Dark.
Just loses that castle when the Treb is at 98%. Dark knows his opponent's committing to the light cap. He's been using organs But now he's going to click pikeman, which is a really good choice, I think. You need something to protect your monks. Doesn't have a lot of that right now. That's another
he does have 3 relics. Okay, so he did get those relics. That's surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't even look. I just assumed Dark had gotten
We were too busy watching Dark go in that one tile that we disagreed with. He did since shoot another gap. And it's a treble right now, folks. It seems like MbL will take out the castle. Dark's on 5 Fatorias? 5 Fatorias. That is a lot.
Those monks are getting deep.
Whoa, where are you going with the monks, dude? No.
What is happening?
Oh, GG.
Onager's coming in 8 seconds, too. Onager is coming in,
No
my friend.
way.
Onager is coming in. Oh, no.
Oh, that's so brutal. I guess he just looked away from it, Dave. His monks must have been misclicked. He had all of his monks on the front. That's like 30 monks down. Holy crap. Maybe still has a chance with organ guns or something. I don't know. Actually, still taking decent trades considering. But bye-bye monks.
He's got the Fatorias behind, so it's not like it's just an all-in push
Yeah.
here. You have 4 Fatorias. You are still getting resources. The resources are still looking good for Dark. It's 122 vills for MbL.
Why MbL's building all these buildings along the front right now? He's losing villagers to organs. This is such a scrappy game.
Yep.
And Halb's on the way for Dark. And Dark's still taking pretty decent trades here. MbL's going to be out of gold income soon, which would be horrible for him.
I think Dark wins this thing.
If he
I
can
think
get,
he does.
if he just holds until MbL is officially out of gold, and then goes
Halb is a killer.
Halb and Cavalier. Yep.
Yeah.
Because MbL would
Halb
have to
is
go
an
skirms
absolute
now.
killer here. Like, just keep making trebs. There's another Fatoria, so he's got 5 now.
That's
So just keep making trebs. You don't need bombard cannons here. Just trebs are good for the additional range and more attack. It's great. And have the Halbs protecting the trebs, and MbL's done. He's cooked. It's over.
Just hold the
Look
position.
at that cat. What is that? There's 2 trebs there, my friend.
MbL's like, it's fine. I can build it anyways. He's gonna pop out with an Onager here, I think, to try and take the trebs. Obviously Onagers could be converted. Dark's done a good job repopping up with monks. MbL's struggling to know what to do. There's the Onagers.
Castle goes up, and there's 2 trebs attacking. Onagers get converted, and Castle will go down shortly. Oh man, Dark. Crazy push. He's been cleared up like 3 or 4 times this game, and he just adds the Fatorias, and he doesn't care.
Yep. And your opponent has to... MbL delayed Imperial Age. MbL was only on 2 town centers. MbL, no potential for a counterattack. There's just all these things that MbL had to try and fight through. It's just really awkward for him. Another Onager converted. Yeah, dude.
And that's
Dark wins this game.
repair villagers.
He absolutely wins this game. MbL is no way back now.
Great job. Great job. And the Onager is going to kill the traps.
Boom! Gets one of them.
It's a Romeo and Juliet moment right there.
Yeah, and it's all resources as well. So there will be continuous line of castles coming in from Dark, I'm sure. One thing I will say is MbL lacked a lot of upgrades in some of these fights. For a guy who's at 122 vills now, to only have 3 upgrades on your light cav when that's all you've really been going for, normal unit-wise, I feel like he could have at least gone for more attack. And again, as I say that, I'm remembering he did kill 30
and
monks.
Come back.
Yeah.
And if you go for upgrades, they get converted and come back towards you.
Yeah, and then they're
with
stronger.
those upgrades.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a numbers thing. It's just
But
really tough.
This is a position that Dark can't lose from him,
Yeah.
right? Like, you have the Fatorias set up. You have the trebs. You just simply either buy the stone or wait for the stone to come in, and you place castles in a line. You have the Halbs protecting your siege, and you just slowly push MbL back into the corner of the map.
I love this comment from someone because you and I, we've heard this comment so many times and had to explain it. Someone says, okay, I will never ask again why pros don't go Onager. Like, they understand now because of the monks.
Siege engineers, that's so good. I honestly understand a couple bombard cannons, but I would like more trebs than bombard cannons. I like trebs here so much better than bombard cannons in this situation.
Yeah. I've got
I
2
get it for
trebs.
some of the onagers, but you have them. Actually, no, don't even make a single bombard cannon. Useless here. Absolutely useless.
Are you talking? You're talking about from Dark's position?
Yeah.
It's not useless.
You have Trebs and you have Monks. Monks convert the onagers. Trebs take out the buildings for more range, more damage.
I think useless is a
Bomber
pretty
cannons
strong
are
word.
useless. Absolutely useless. They're not better than the Trebs in any sense here.
No. Okay, but useless.
They just feel cooler to use.
Useless is probably the wrong word. I think they're still useful.
They're worse than useless. They cost more resources than them.
Oh god. Well, I mean, here you go. Bomber cannons are gonna potentially go down, but MbL just wants to kill the monks. But again, like, he can kill some of the monks, and then there's still Halbs there. And then these useless bomber cannons will be a decent answer to the skirms. So good stuff from Dark.
Do they have Arquebus? They might have Arquebus, which would.
Are
be
they
pretty
useful then?
bad.
If Arquebus is in?
They slightly more. It's 1-1.
It's 1-1. Yeah. I don't know what just happened on my end. What in the world? I somehow rewound like 10 minutes. But yeah, great game from Dark. Honestly, I think like what's really tough with dealing with the Portuguese is, unlike all the other civilizations that could potentially go all in against you, they have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
So the all in attack can
And-
kill you, but the Fetorias, if they're being built throughout that push, are going to be enough to fund the player through the rest of the game. And I think MbL could have done a little bit better execution-wise, but it was just a very messy game. And I'm sure he felt like he was doing a good job when he cleaned up the pushes. He took out Trebs with mangonels at one point. Like, just wasn't able to stop it. Dark gets the win.
Eco was actually kind of close. Also, Civ like Bengalis, you can't go for heresy here, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
It's just pretty brutal when you're coming in with those light cav and you clear up 20 monks, but then you give them 6 or 7 light cav conversions, and that's enough to buy him some time to get more army on the field, right? So it's actually really, really well done from Dark.
It would have been interesting. I know that Dark is relying on Fetorias, but you know, if MbL would have found a way to get a villager through and just make some buildings, just get some raids in on Dark's base. Because what really makes this strong is that your main base is untouched in Dark's position.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm looking at Dark's base right now. It's not like he actually had that much there. A lot of it was
just
forward.
more pop space for Fetorias
Yep.
if you kill all those vills.
Yep. And still can't deal with the main army. So scores 1-1 here, which takes Dark up to 10 wins in this group, which is really good. We will still have a final game. And it will not change anything standings-wise. It is going to be MbL first and Dark second in this group. But would be awesome for Dark to be able to tack on another win and at least say he beat MbL in a series. This is cool. Okay, so I had never seen Gurjaras on Land Madness before, and it's kind of funny. You get the 2 forage bushes with the Gurjaras, but then you get the fruit bush right next to it. I never knew how this was going to look, so
You can make a wonderful fruit salad.
yeah, you get a nice. My mom always said variety's key. That's good. We've got, what are those, tomatoes and lemons?
These ones are no, I don't think they're lemons. I think these are some sort of other fruit.
That is grown on a bush.
And these aren't tomatoes because those are grown on a vine, right?
Vine?
Aren't tomatoes on like tomatoes are on like a
Yeah,
little,
you are right. Tomato, like the tiny tomatoes, I think are on a vine.
So these might be like berries of some kind.
Big berries though, like they're chunky berries. Maybe like present day berries are much smaller now, and they used to be
GMO berries.
Yeah.
The devs, they're cooking.
Yeah, these are new and improved berries. Yeah, because pears are grown on trees, right? I think mangoes are also grown on trees.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll have to reach out to the devs on that. But it's Ethiopians for Dark, which I believe was his final pick. And this is not the type of civilization that you normally expect for Land Madness. So I think he's just said, I can't play Scout War against MbL. I just can't. He's too good at that type of thing, especially MbL, because you know MbL loves to make 7 or 8 spearmen in a game anyways.
Oh yeah.
So he just says, okay, I'm going to go archers instead. And if you're going to go archers instead, Ethiopians are a good pick.
Yeah, and the only problem against Gujaras, if you're playing Ethiopians, like the camels from Gujaras won't have much of a factor, but Shirvamshas can be really rough.
Yeah.
Especially on a map like Land Madness, where you can't wall around these woodlines where the stone terrain is. You have to go for the short walls. It's not so much of an issue early when you're 1 TC, but when you're 2 or 3 TCs and your economy is spread out, it's really tough to keep track of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think if you're pushing forward with what will probably have to be, if we're talking Castle Age, pikes and crossbows, which could be really hard to stop as the Gujaras, you need everything at home to be small walled. Like every single little thing. Because all it's going to take for MbL is a couple Shravamshas to get into a woodline or your gold, and you're not going to be able to effectively counterattack.
Yeah.
So I think if we are talking about civilizations at their peak, I actually think Ethiopians are superior here. Like, think Leary, Archer, Pike pressure. But I think it's easier to play with mobile units on Lance Madness, so MbL Civilization probably the one I would want to have here.
Yeah, better eco bonus for MbL too. I mean, the only eco bonus for Dark is really 100 gold, 100 food.
Yep, which
When he
happens
ages up.
3 times a game and is a little bit situational. But that can be very helpful in early feudal. You'll see players delay going to gold, for example, have an extra villager or 2 on wood because they don't need the gold right away.
So MbL is coming forward with the Camel Scout. Dark is still just kind of chilling with his. He's been pushing in a lot of deer, and he's looking for more Ibex. Don't tell
Past
me you're
Castle?
pushing this in too. You're pushing this one in too?
Now, dude, you have
Okay.
you have a fruit bush. We don't know what type of fruit it is, okay? But you have a fruit bush underneath your TC.
Persimmons.
Yeah,
Currants. I've seen so many suggestions here. We have people with yellow fruit suggestions. Lemons are grown on trees, so maybe this is a short, stubby tree. But
I've heard there's different types of tomatoes, and there are some that are grown on like a bush style plant.
we could have yellow apples, but those are grown on trees too.
Oh
So,
God,
I
the
don't-
deer's gone back, and he's pissed at it. He's like, "I will kill you anyways." Oh, he's pushed it further away. MbL's like, "What is happening right now?"
MbL's just gonna keep pushing it away, and Dark will kill it eventually. And he's gonna go out and push another one. Dark,
Dark.
thank you. No, don't even.
Oh, MbL runs into the TC. All of the confusion was worth it.
Dark is pushing another Ibex.
Dude.
Man just really wants that food.
I mean,
He's a carnivore.
they're playing for the group stage settings, and it's their last round, and Dark knows he's second place anyway, so he's just being greedy. But this is not how I would have envisioned someone playing this map. MbL is going to go for scouts. He's got his barracks going up at home. And this comes as no surprise to us. But honestly, a really big deal that MbL lost that much HP on his Camel Scout.
Yeah.
He may still choose to rush some type of attack versus Dark against the starting scout, but if that was full HP, he would not hesitate at all.
Something about this build feels like Dark doesn't know what he wants to do.
He just wants food right now. Clearly,
Yeah.
right? He just wants all the food in the
Yeah,
world.
like, holy man. I guess if you're just gonna play archers and spearmen or whatever, I suppose you don't need to scout your opponent. Please don't go out for another one.
He is going for scouts, which MbL might be confused by. If you look at where the buildings were placed, MbL hasn't seen anything yet because normally it's on the front.
Yep. He's gonna go over there with Camel, and he's gonna investigate a little bit, and maybe the
Still
scout
doesn't
play
see.
wasn't planned from the start, but once he got that damage on the Camel Scout, he was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah.
work.
Like, look at this. MbL's like, where's the barracks? Where's the archer range? This is so confusing for me. That villager has a mallet. What's she building? What's back here? And he also will see villagers going to gold, maybe, and he might think it's going to be archers, but he's still really looking. Still,
And here we are.
there we go.
But MbL doesn't need an excuse to make spearmen. He was already producing spearmen, even without that stable there.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to even protect against that starting scout, he's going to have one at home, and this barracks will likely keep working. And then, you know what? Oh, he's making skirms.
Yeah, he
Okay.
actually thought it was going to be archers, so he's going skirms. So I think it was last game we said MbL wouldn't fall for the mind games or wouldn't do the mind games, one or the other. But I think he got baited a little bit, just assuming Dark would go archers. And so now that, you know, we have scouts on the field for Dark, MbL's army's really not going to accomplish too much offensively.
And he still hasn't gone out to gold. I was going to say, like, you know, Dark going scouts here can actually flip this Civ matchup on its head.
Mhm.
And then MbL can go archer spear, right? And just play a little bit slower and try and get that mass, which we think of the Ethiopians usually doing. But MbL still isn't on gold. So it's just Skirmisher
skirms.
Spearman. It's like he's living up to the meme.
Yep, full trash. I mean, you're kind of stuck right now. He doesn't have an easy gold to take, right? He could maybe get that one in the very north, but it's not going to be easy. Here comes MbL, though, with his trash army. He's not Byzantines, folks. He just likes his spears and his skirms, and he's going to try and do something. But Dark's making his own skirms at home. Very smart for him not to make too many archers. But Dark hasn't been able to find any kills against MbL just yet. He did find some pigs, which is kind of nice. And actually goes in for the spear, not expecting MbL to be attacking. And they trade 1 for 1 there.
Skirm Spearman army is here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think everyone who's ever faced up against MbL doing this, though, is legitimately saying, uh-oh. They're like, somehow he's going to snowball this into something annoying. So this is actually a problem. Where for us, on paper, we're just like, haven't seen it really work out that many times.
Oh, and he took out another scout, too. So there's only 1 scout left over. It's full HP, but there's 3 spearmen guarding the skirmishers. And MbL, honestly, in a really comfortable spot here because there's no archers. You know you've already taken out the scout numbers. There's really nothing that can damage you at home.
Yep.
And he just simply adds more spearmen. Great.
A big thing here that we needed to touch on is Dark didn't get a single eco upgrade. So it must be maybe the frustration of the series, maybe the length of the series. I know it hasn't been that long, but something's going on here because you really would have wanted to, at the very least, have double bid axe. But I do like his micro, right? His unit control is very solid. He's going to take out the spears. MbL skirms. A lot of them are exposed now. And Dark is trying to stay close to the other skirms. But yeah, like you said, more spears on the way. Scout then is going to be exposed. And MbL has a massive army.
This is the weirdest, most Pepega Land Madness opening I've seen, like, ever. I've never seen skirmisher spearmen from both players just on Land Madness. It's just weird. It's weird.
It's just such an MbL thing. Like, honestly, we talk a lot about compositions and attacks. What MbL does, and I'm realizing this more and more these days, is he just produces a lot of units, right?
Yep.
He has kept the barracks and the archer range pumping, whereas Dark has usually only had 1 military building working at a time. And so he just has all this army, and it's in your face, and you're trying to be cute on timings with 1 army type.
And there's a scout. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and now it just, like, catches up with you. And it is not fun for viewers, possibly, to see a player die to this, but it's effective, and it's MbL. 2 villager kills, just like that.
Yep. Even if the archers take out the spearmen quite quickly, it's going to take them 5 seconds to take out a spearman, and then the skirmishers can be shooting at them from behind, right? If you don't take it out, it's attacking your vills, it's attacking your archers, it's doing a little bit of damage. Dark is on the way to Castle Age, but Dark has already lost 2 villagers. There's going to be a 3rd. There's probably going to be a 4th coming up shortly if MbL can block this with the scout. And all of this forward pressure is going to remain.
Yep. And this is Dark trying to rush to Castle Age for a crossbow timing because that's really common. But it's not something, as we see the great finish there from MbL.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's just not something that he's going to have time for, realistically. I think he's just going to lose more eco. 2 minutes so he can get to a couple archers? It's probably not going to be enough.
I think it's knights. I think it has to be knights.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, like, you're gonna get the gold, you're gonna get the food, and you have one archer. Where is that archer? Where are you?
I think it's in the range. It's in the range, yeah. And what's good about that is MbL thinks that there could be 10 archers in there. So MbL might overmake skirms, and then if he does that, the knights end up working.
I think it's almost like too stable territory for Dark.
He doesn't have stone to towers woodline either. Like, he should lose more villagers before he can even get a knight. This is really bad.
Well, he's not, because it's only skirms and spearmen, and he just doesn't seem to care. And he's trying to wall it in.
MbL's just going to move his units slightly.
Come on, Dark. Go get him, buddy.
I feel bad for these vills right now. They're not living a good life. And MbL's weakened all of these. It doesn't look like MbL's really worked on focus firing these things. He's just kind of let them idle the vills. Now he probably realizes that these skirms are going to die because he knows his opponent has a stable. So now he'll focus fire.
It's a dead vill, though.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
MbL, of course, is Gurjaras, so we could always make camels against any knights, and Ethiopian knights are not very good. We do have the crossbow upgrade. That feels like the most costly upgrade ever right now for Dark.
Yikes.
He's going to have 3 crossbows, but you got to play towards, crossbows and knights because you're just not going to last very long in this matchup.
And MbL keeps adding skirms because he thought there was probably more crossbows in that archer range. He's going to see the knight now. These knights have no upgrades. No upgrades at all. MbL still has a scout. He's still got some spearmen. As long as he takes out the crossbows, that knight's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, it will die eventually through attrition.
You really just, more than anything, you just care about the crossbow numbers, too. Especially after seeing the investment. If it was just a couple extra archers, it's whatever. But knowing he spent 300 resources for that upgrade tells him how important it is.
Ooh, camel scouts. It's not often that we get to see the camel scout production, but it's huge here.
Yeah.
It's really big because those are going to go automatically into camels when MbL hits the castle age, and he's going to have a counter these knights. He's going to save some of his skirms to keep the archers in check.
And MbL is producing spearmen the whole time as well because it's his favorite unit. So that camel upgrades in. There's just not enough crossbows in support. And this is not a fight
this
you're really...
This crossbow's gaming right now. Like, he's surviving. Again!
We're looking for positives here for Dark. And we've been able to find a few. Okay. Well, I mean, still MbL just producing out of every building he has, right? The stable, the barracks, the archer range. For Dark, ideally he'd have like 5 knights, 12 crossbowmen right now. Ideally he'd have Bodkin arrow. He's really at the limit. He's going to get wheelbarrow, which the timing of feels a little bit off, and he still just doesn't have an answer to any of this. Even the skirms could kill the knights and the crossbows on their own right now.
Yep. And now the monastery he added to help heal those knights and maybe take care of the camels. The knights are dead.
Yep.
And there's no monk coming out. And Dark has a super impressive 3 population in his military currently. It's not looking great.
Yeah, it's like everything he's made this game, MbL is just stopped immediately. And here come the Shravamshas. So villagers will die on the woodline. Great quick walling from Dark. And mechanically, a lot of things have been sound. 11 seconds of TC idle time. That's solid. But
eco upgrades have been coming in a little bit late.
Yeah,
but it's okay. Especially considering last game, we can't really judge. But the skirmishers here from MbL, it's just a story of like, on these open maps against Dark, graveyards in this map, it's just forward pressure. And then Dark is reacting to everything. Every tech switch he makes feels like it's a reaction to something MbL is doing. Shravamshas are in the back, and that's game.
And that's the conclusion of the group for both of these two. Obviously, losing 2-1 here, and the way the third game looked for Dark might look a little bad for the guy, but he ends up in second place. Dark has 10 wins and 5 losses after 15 games and 5 rounds. And Dark will play the third place player in Group C, which is still to be seen. So Dark will go into the playoffs. If he wins in that series in the playoffs, he then moves back up to Platinum where he was before and is in the top 24. For MbL, immediately promoted onto Platinum for the next season. So we made a big stink about it when MbL got relegated. It was a big deal when he was relegated from Platinum in Season 2, but I think everyone kind of knew that if MbL was sharp again, if he was playing his best Age of Empires, and I don't even think he's playing his best right now, but even close to his best, that he'd be in the top 24 again. So props to MbL.
He's playing pretty good Age of Empires. I mean, still issues on the closed maps, right? We saw Dark just take control of the second game, but on these open ones where he thrives, MbL's he's playing a lot more than he used to. Yeah, which is good. And that's for practice for MbL is just playing games, hundreds of games, thousands of games, and eventually he'll get there because his whole persona, his whole strategy is just kind of trust your instincts and do whatever feels right. And if he doesn't have the practice games, then that's makes him really, really rusty.
So as things stand in Group D, MbL 13 wins and he's finished. Dark 10 wins and he's finished. Then we have Nilly at 3 wins with 2 rounds to go. Kazva at 3 wins with 2 rounds to go. And one of those rounds is those two against each other. That's tomorrow. FedEx with 4 wins with 1 round to go. And then Rapard with 3 wins with 1 round to go. So Nilly, according to my stat sheet here, is 49% odds to get 3rd place. But he's also 18% odds to get 4th. And then he is 30% odds to get relegated.
Oof.
So like
Oof.
the finish of this group is going to be ridiculous. It seems like Nili, Kazva, FedEx, Repart all very close to each other. So that's really what people have to look out for. But again, wild that Nili, who is the greatest odds, this is just using him as an example. He's got the greatest odds to get the third playoff spot, or second rather, in third place. But he also has like 30% odds to get relegated. Just shows you how ridiculously close the group is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for the finish. The sets are Nili, Kazva, Repard, Nili, and then Kazva, FedEx. All three of those sets have massive ramifications on this group.
Yep.